Hello everyone, I am Kim Simpson and this is my video presentation. I live in Billings, Montana, and I'm currently in my third year of teaching high school English. I received my Bachelor of Arts in English Teaching from Montana State University in May of 2015. In addition to teaching general and honors English courses, I am also the media advisor. My mass media class is responsible for creating the yearbook as well as a 2-page spread in a weekly county newspaper, and that is circulated to over 1,900 households. It's a unique opportunity to be able to quite literally be the face and forefront of my school. I teach in a small school of roughly 260 high school students, and I have fallen in love with the small town feel and the community which I am a part of. The section of my portfolio that I would like to highlight today falls under CAEP Standard Outcome 1.3, and that is candidates apply content and discipline-specific knowledge as reflected in state and/or national discipline-specific standards. I believe the 3 artifacts which I am going to present to you today demonstrate my mastery of the skills I initially joined this program to learn. I began this program at the end of my first year teaching. I was emotionally spent, and the majority of my fatigue was due to my high workload. I had 6 different classes to teach every day, and I knew that I could not possibly provide the quality education that my students deserved to each of my classes. Naturally, some would receive the short end of the stick, so to speak. So I decided that I needed to reach out and bolster my knowledge of the craft of teaching. So through my presentation today, I have 3 primary goals. I would like to demonstrate that I have built a foundation of understanding of how to structure and implement effective units and lessons. I want to show you that I can resonate with students and their specific learning styles, and ultimately my goal is to make a difference in the lives of others, especially new teachers. The first artifact that I have for you today is the interview of key stakeholders from C&T 802, which is curriculum planning for educational settings. And it was a great way for me to become more familiar with my educational environment. This paper expected students to examine and identify the curriculum planning process in our specific schools. Understanding the context of the school and students is a critical part of ensuring student achievement and success. As our English department was and still is in the throes of a reform, it was important to me to uncover and unpack the details of the context in which I teach. Being able to understand and utilize the strengths of the environment and address the weaknesses ultimately creates a stronger educator and a stronger program for students. The process I went through to create this artifact was setting up individual meetings with my principal and my colleague and ask them school-specific and content-specific questions, synthesize my findings, and apply them to my own teaching. My principal, KJ Pepping, noted in his interview that planning the curriculum for each and every class has been a total free-for-all until we decided to sit down and focus on the standards. This statement guided the overall theme of my paper, that the standards provide a framework from which to build a curriculum to ensure students are introduced to the essential skills they will need after they graduate from high school. Moving towards a standards-based curriculum helps to ensure accountability. Teachers must ensure that they are teaching the standards in their classrooms. More than that, though, is the fact that a standards-based curriculum ensures that all teaching focuses on specifically identified power standards. So since there are 3 English teachers in my department, our students all receive the same quality education because the same standards are focused upon in each classroom, whereas before, content was taught at teacher discretion. Standards-based instruction can be used to track student progress and address areas of weakness and identify student strengths. Overall, the interviews conducted in this artifact demonstrate the importance of moving toward a standards-based curriculum. With student achievement and improvement in mind, moving towards a standards-based curriculum creates an environment where all students can succeed to the best of their ability. The image provided to the left demonstrates how we as a department would like to be able to use data to inform our decisions about curriculum and instruction. Using the standards as our baseline and our framework, we are able to design the assessments to use to collect data. And using those standards as reference points, we should be able to adjust our instruction due to student needs. The second artifact was the annotated bibliography from Pedagogical Considerations of the 21st Century, or C&T 770, and it was one of my favorite assignments from the program as a whole. To complete the assignment, students were asked to examine our own pedagogical practices to consider in regards to 21st century teaching. In my own classes, one of the most difficult tasks is to engage with everyone in a large group discussion. With students' best interests in mind, I want to ensure that my students feel comfortable enough in my class to voice their opinions without judgment. Yet the large group discussion is one of the most valuable activities to participate in. Because the social aspect of the environment is so highly palpable, many students are content to sit quietly in the class and let others speak. One of my goals is to ensure that each of my students feels as though he or she has a voice and that his or her opinion can be validated. So to circumvent some of the social anxiety of speaking directly in front of others, I've researched using a virtual discussion board. This annotated bibliography provided me the opportunity to do an extensive amount of research to find the best practices involving online discussion. Through the research presented in this artifact, 3 common themes were made explicit. In order to be successful, online discussion boards and forums must provide well-designed tasks for students to complete and prompts to answer, include consistent, active instructor participation, and the face-to-face environment must show that it values such online participation. Using technology in such a way can reinforce that standards are being met and mastered. When students feel more comfortable with their environment, they are more likely to take risks in their learning, and mastering the standards is one of our ultimate goals as educators. The themes presented in this research suggest that online discussion forums are a valuable way to integrate technology and get students more engaged with their learning. On this slide, I have included 2 screenshots from the online discussion platform I have implemented in my classes for the current school year. After completing this annotated bibliography, I researched the best online platform to use. I ultimately decided to use Canvas, which has a great discussion board feature. For my senior English class, we began our unit on Gothic literature and literary theory by reading Edgar Allan Poe. And a thought piece is a short, formative assessment to be completed on their discussion board. The first screenshot on the left is their thought piece assignment. The assignment guidelines are clear and straightforward as the research suggested. The second screenshot is a comment I gave to a student after reading and grading his thought piece. Each student receives feedback on each thought piece, upholding the value of consistent instructor interaction. And finally, I have included a picture from one of our whole group discussions on Frankenstein. Since implementing online discussion forums, our discussions in person and in class have been more fruitful and meaningful, which leads me to believe that the virtual discussions have engaged students in a way that they have not engaged previously. The final artifact I have chosen to include to demonstrate my mastery of Standard Outcome 1.3 is my final project from C&T 803, Differentiated Curriculum and Instruction. This project was assigned as a culmination of our course to apply different instructional strategies to differentiate our classrooms. As an educator, I believe that all students have the desire and the ability to learn, and it is my responsibility to teach in a way that is meaningful and in a way which resonates with their preferred learning styles. Mastery of the standards and the material given to them in class is only possible if it clicks, and it will click differently within each student. As I've mentioned earlier, I have multiple preps to teach each day. As such, I cannot teach each class in the same way. This artifact presents 6 differentiated teaching strategies that have been individualized for a specific class. These classes are general English courses as well as specific electives like drama and theater. As I created this artifact, I had the end goals for each class in mind. I focused on the essential skills needed for success in each and built the differentiated lessons around them. The main takeaway at the core of this assignment is that as their teacher, I understand my students' needs enough to be able to personalize their lessons that meet their needs and ensure their success. I have included 4 images from my classes to visualize this artifact. When my classes participate in whole group discussion, I act as scribe. I facilitate their discussion while tracking conversation by writing down notes, and you can see this in the image on the left. I usually color code the notes according to summary, theme, or other, so not only do the discussions lend themselves to oral learners, but visual learners can also engage. In the lower center photo, I've included a photo from a Chalk Talk activity, which I designed specifically for C&T 803's final project. Students worked with a partner and rotated to different stations and discussed with each other whether or not they agreed with the statement on the sheet of paper. They then briefly justified their decision before moving on. After all had rotated and written their decisions on the paper, we discussed them each as a whole group. Above that picture is a small group project in action. The girls were putting together a project on the appeal of ethos, while other members of their class were working on pathos and logos. By becoming experts in their own sort of topic, they were able to engage in the jigsaw activity and connect their knowledge with others. And to the right, partners worked together on a smash doodle having to do with the novel Watership Down. A smash doodle is a visual representation of a theme or a concept which is smashed together with the textual evidence and other supporting details, and all create one visual. Overall, these 3 specific artifacts have been chosen to highlight my value and passion for giving students power over their own learning. I use the standards as the framework and the backbone of my instruction, and through my adherence to the standards, my students have the opportunity to learn in the way that they prefer. They have the ability to listen to others' perspectives and partake in a variety of activities in which they are empowered and enlightened. To conclude, after completing my master's degree, I plan on taking some time off to rejuvenate and reevaluate my educational setting. With the knowledge and experience I have gained from this program, I want to eventually write journalism education curriculum. I want to show others that journalism is an important art form and that it has value in the classroom. To do so, I plan on conducting some research about how journalism should and can be incorporated into the classroom. As noted in my 5-year plan on my portfolio, I plan on conducting research and ultimately publishing my work with an education or English education journal. I began this program to build a more solid foundation of how to plan and structure lessons, and with this degree, I plan on helping others build their own foundations and feel like powerful, valuable educators. Thank you.